Hi, and welcome to this walkthrough of the financial workbook. Like most people in business, I love looking at financial data. You know, small insights that can have a major impact on the health of your business. The problem is that a lot of that analysis takes so much time that a lot of us don't spend the time that's necessary to actually find those insights. That's why we built out the workbook. I'd like to walk through that workbook for you right now. So if we go over to the first view of the workbook, on the first page, one of the things you'll see is a refresh button. The refresh button takes all the information down in terms of revenue, costs, utilization information, and in a minute updates the workbook with the analysis that you'll see. The workbook contains a metrics page, and the metrics page are metrics that matter. Up to 12 metrics that you can configure that show you how your business is performing for a selected month actual to the target that you enter, and also year to date versus a target. It also shows you a change month to month. It shows you a monthly trend, whether or not individual months of the year met plan or not, and then it highlights in terms of an indicator any specific metrics that are outside of norm, that haven't met the plan. The financial workbook also has a gauges page, and you can configure a series of gauges that you want to display. And rather than just indicating whether something met a plan or missed a plan, it allows you to indicate ranges of meeting of a plan. Often, if you're 99% of your revenue target, it isn't that you completely missed your plan. It may be that you're in yellow. It's really when you're below 90% that you're in red. So you can actually indicate percentages of scale for meeting a plan, and then use this as a quick indicator. Here I can see that I missed on my cost of goods sold because I was up above what my range happened to be. And I can simply select the month that I want to look at here and look at individual months to see the summary on the plan. Financial trend information is showing you information on a monthly basis in terms of specific financial information, revenue, costs of goods, margins, expenses, and it shows you these in terms of bar graphs to plan. You can enter in your plan numbers, showing you both individual months versus a cumulative plan to date. Shows you, and we'll get specific into some specific drilling into certain information in later videos, but things like year-to-date revenue by contract, what percentage of revenue, the average cost of goods sold. Also breakdowns on individual customers, so you can kind of see how you're doing gross margin, what customers are you losing money on that you want to focus in on. We also have a trending on year over year. So basically comparing the current months to the previous months, also a year-to-date comparisons. Because sometimes it's as important to understand how you've done year over year as also how you're doing in the current plan. So it provides comparisons on monthly, average revenue, quarterly basis, and also things in terms of both revenue and your gross margins. Autotask workbooks always have Explore screens. We've actually included 3 separate Explore screens within the financial workbook. The first is focused on revenue, cost of goods, and margins. And the Explore screens always will have a series of slicers where you can drill into certain information, and then all of the graphs you see below are actually filtered based on the selections. So I can drill into specific months, specific contract types, specific categories, specific billing, certain counts, certain contracts, and then graphically see the information for the selected information based on what my criteria happen to be. I see monthly comparisons, I see total comparisons of revenue and costs, quarterly comparisons, and then I'll deselect this and you'll see I also see comparisons of revenue by contract type, by category, the margin. So I can compare revenue for the revenue for a contract type versus the margin, seeing that in fact I'm making more money here in terms of recurring service revenue. I actually get percent margin by contract types, drilling in for specific billing types. So I could drill into time and materials and see how my labor is comparing revenue to costs in the area of labor, expense, and project costs for time and material contracts. What I also see is the top revenue and the bottom revenue by clients, the top clients by margin, and bottom clients by margin who I've lost money on in terms of my accounts, and then also clients by margin. And basically, again, selecting my criteria, I can see overall these are the companies that I lost money on in terms of margin. We also drill into utilization. And exploring utilization allows you to look at the worked versus the billable hours that are spent for specific months or quarters for specific resources or labor types or time. It allows you to drill in and see information in terms of hours per month. So, and this is like 2013, and you can drill into specific things. Like, suppose what I was interested in is, who spent holiday time. So I can actually see that how many hours were spent for specific months in terms of holiday time if I wanted to drill into it versus help desk, as an example. Or I could say based on my regular hours versus my service hours or specific resource. We also give individual breakdowns in terms of hours by labor type. So basically, what were the regular hours that were in our timesheet versus service hours, by the type, by what was billable versus unbillable, by individual people, by the work type. So I can drill in and look at specific work types. Maybe what I'm interested in is just the regular hours, and I can say, okay, this is the number of internal versus help desk versus meeting versus personal time that was spent across my company. Or I could drill in and say for a specific individual. Allows you to really get a feel for how people are spending their time. Another Explore screen is on margin, and margin allows you to actually drill in and what I'll do is I'll just pick out 2 specific quarters here and actually look at accounts or specific types of contracts and see for those contracts how much am I making in terms of dollars and how much am I keeping in terms of gross margin percentage. So these are actually contracts I lost money on. So you can kind of see is that this was a $23,000 contract, but I lost 12% on it. So that means that $2,600 was lost in this contract because it cost me more than it actually brought me in revenue. Allows you to drill in on contract types for specific accounts or contract categories and get a feel for those. All of the information that is trended is coming from a spreadsheet-based calculation. This is showing me my metrics that matter. We also present things in terms of a P&L with profit, revenue, cost of goods, operating expenses that are calculated based on how people are spending their regular hours. Also, there are fields for you to put in your additional information if it's not within AutoTask. And you get revenue analysis, the things that you were seeing before, revenue by contract type, revenue distribution by the size of the deal, so you can kind of feel whether you're going up market. We have a labor spreadsheet that allows you to see and calculate service versus regular hours by person, what the person's current burden rate happened to be for that specific month. And it multiplies the regular hours, the meeting times and stuff like that, times the burden rate, and allows you to specify whether or not those costs should be a cost of goods sold or whether or not it should be an operating expense. And then finally, all of our spreadsheets have a config tab, allows you to easily set up for your AutoTask system. Basically, just go in and hit the setup workbook, enter in the credentials that are provided, and within a minute, basically everything is configured for your data. You can put in exclusion criteria. You can choose select your fiscal month, your currency symbol, all on the configuration tab. And that's a quick walkthrough of the financial workbook. We have several deep dives into each one of the tabs so you can get further information if you wish to. Appreciate your use of AutoTask and your use of the workbooks. Thank you very much.